Hello, Erkin. This is my feedback to your summary from last week. Okay, so let's begin. In the video, what is the difference? Okay, title, name of the speaker, argues that, very good. The main difference between invention and innovation lies in their marketing value. Sure, it's a little bit vague when you express it like that. Lies in their marketing value. It's not very sure what exactly this means, but it is an important distinction that innovation basically is a product, is an invention which is widely available to the public. It's a marketable product. I think here this is more of a supporting idea. This is one of the supporting ideas, one of the distinguishing characteristics between the two terms, which he used, and you can use that later on. Okay, but here you can just say argues that something more broad that would capture the whole video. Maybe argues that it is important to be able to distinguish between invention and innovation or something like that, right? Something a bit broader. Because this is just one supporting idea. First of all, the speaker gives brief information, okay, about invention. The invention suggests that it's a specific invention, so you don't need this article. Invention in general, and explains using examples. Okay, I would say here explains what? You need to add explains the difference between the two terms by giving examples, right? Something like that. First of all, the speaker briefly defines the two terms and explains their different characteristics by giving examples, something like that. Because explains, you have to add something. Explains the difference or explains how they are different, right? So explains the difference between the two terms, right? In this case, explains needs an object, so add a grammatical object. Explains what, right? According to the speaker, in society, here we want to use a comma, right? Punctuation. According to the speaker, comma, in society, people are still confused about the characteristics. Sure, why not? That's a good thought. It is difficult to distinguish between them. In society, people, that's a little bit awkward. In society, people, right? Plus, people is always kind of a vague term. So you can just say, according to the speaker, there is still much confusion about the characteristics of invention and innovation, and that's all you need to say. You don't need to mention society and people. Therefore, he assumes that if we can buy this on the market, he doesn't assume that, he states it, right? So the reporting verb is important. Assume is when you make an assumption about something that may or may not be true. It's kind of like guessing, right? But he states that. He states that if we can buy this on the market, this means that innovation. This is not very grammatical. This means that it is an innovation. He states that if we can buy a product on the market, right? This is, we want to make it very focused and specific, your phrasing, and clear. If we can buy a product on the market, comma, right? After an independent clause, after a dependent clause, you need a comma. He assumes that if we can buy a product on the market, that's your dependent clause here. You want to use a comma. This means that innovation, this means that it is an innovation. Now that you've said a product, right? If we can buy a product on the market, comma, this means that it is an innovation. Then you can say it, because it will refer back to the product, right? This means that it is an innovation. Okay, and you do need a verb here. It is an innovation, that's a verb. Now here you've concluded one thought, and then you want to say in contrast blah blah blah, and that's your second thought. But these two thoughts, these two clauses, cannot be separated by a comma like that. So this is a comma splice, what we call a comma splice, which you cannot link two clauses by just, in this case, two clauses like that, comma and then move on. So here you need either a full stop or a semicolon, but a comma does not work. So full stop or semicolon. In contrast, if we cannot buy what? You need a grammatical object here. If we cannot buy it or buy the product, right? If we cannot buy the product, you have to say buy what? On its, it doesn't work like that on its own. If we cannot buy the product, comma, again you need this time you need a subject, grammatical subject. It should be defined as an invention. Okay, so here you're missing a subject, a grammatical subject. It, for instance, would do well here. In contrast, if we cannot buy the product, comma, it is to be defined as an invention. Okay, fine. Good. I mean, overall, that's exactly what he does. So your writing is very clear, actually. It's very nice. Let's just make it a little bit more grammatical. In addition, he asserts, okay, very nice use of reporting verb, that invention of a new processor, device, idea, item, tool. Here I got a little bit lost. I'm not sure what's going on. He asserts the invention. First of all, asserts should be followed by that. This is one of those reporting verbs that is followed by that. Asserts that, but it's a very nice reporting verb. Now what does he assert? That what? And here I'm just not clear what's going on. I mean, you've just listed device, idea, tool, item. I'm just not clear what's going on here. So you do need to clarify this. If you have to, you can expand it a little bit. But processor, device, data, item, which needs further, it's just kind of like an incomplete, unclear thought here. Okay, so you have to maybe add something, explain. As a result, innovations bring numerous benefits to the economy and society. Very nice. Yes, absolutely. It's a very good sentence here. Moreover, he suggests, you can repeat, or the speaker, that the function of innovation can be several. Several cannot be used on its own like that. It has to be several something. There can be several functions. There can be several different functions. So you again, several is followed by an object, grammatical object. Several, there are several different functions, right? He suggests that innovations can have several different functions. Okay, why not? But I like the use of reporting verb here, very good. In conclusion, he points out that innovation development is based on invention. Again, this is another comma splice. However, not all inventions become innovations. Okay, very good. I would accept this final sentence, except for the comma splice. So you want to use a semicolon. If you want to keep it one sentence here, just use a semicolon. But if you want to improve this, I will accept it the way it is. That's fine as a concluding sentence. I've seen the video, so I know more or less what's going on. I can tell. But if you want to make it a little bit more clear and focused, more precise, I should say, what did he end with really? He gave this ballpoint pen as an example of how something that is seemingly very insignificant, he kind of pulled it out of his pocket as a magic trick. Seemingly, when it was just an invention, nobody cared about it. It's just this pen. Who cared about it? But when it became an innovation, years later, it had this enormous impact on society, and now everybody is using the pen. So you could end with that final, it's kind of like a paradoxical idea. On the one hand, when a new product is just an invention, it may be seemingly insignificant, but when it becomes an innovation, it may have an enormous impact on society. And he was stressing the idea that this impact is unpredictable. You can never tell. I mean, the story of the pen was very surprising. At first, the patent was turned down. Nobody even gave a second thought to the pen. And then, voila, all of a sudden, as soon as it became an innovation, it had this enormous impact, right? So something like that, if you can capture that, that would be an improvement on, because that's really what he ended with, the paradox, right? So I can say, in conclusion, Daniele points out that in some cases the impact of innovations on society is unpredictable. Something like that. That'd be a very simple way of ending it. But still that would end with a strong idea, right? How unpredictable it is, this little insignificant pen. But actually we've done a very good job of not mentioning the example, because we do stay away from examples. So that's good. In your summary, you don't want to mention evidence or examples. And overall, I can tell this is very well structured. Your conclusion is fine. Your first sentence is also fine. And yeah, you've included the supporting ideas. Overall, very good actually. Very good summary. Just work a little bit on the phrasing and on the grammar. But you're getting there. Getting better and better, I can tell. Good work, Erke.